Hi Gemini, welcome to your November 2022 Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Gemini, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, can you believe it? November already. For your actions and interactions with the world at large over the course of November, you have the Knight of Pentacles. All right, so this is actually really great because this suggests to me that this month you are biding your time, but it does suggest to me also that a lot of you are taking journeys or trips this month. Some of you, I kind of feel like this is either a journey or a trip that you haven't anticipated or maybe even budgeted for. So this might be spontaneous travel that just shows up for you, but it's like travel or a journey that you have to take regardless. When it comes to your actions as well, this is probably a really good time to start looking at your car or your vehicle as well, especially if it's something that's come up before. This is a good time because Mars is retrograde in your sign. This is a good time to get things repaired, right? So if you've got something in your world that you're like, okay, this thing needs to be looked at, it needs to be helped or acknowledged or whatever, this is a really good time to get something repaired. Maybe not necessarily buy something brand new, especially if it's technological or has a lot of metal involved, right? So anything like that, this is a good time for you to do repairs on stuff. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Four of Cups. So for those of you that have had a long-standing issue that has kind of been either a matter of the heart, and for some of you, this might be that you've been puzzling it out with somebody that you have been dating or seeing, like, are you going to move in with me? Am I going to move in with you? Maybe you've been going backwards and forwards on this, and I do feel for a lot of you, it's specifically that conversation. It's like, am I going to move in with you? Are you going to move here with me? And it's like you've done this back and forth thing and it just keeps coming up and you're like, okay, eventually we're going to have to reach a decision on this because we can't keep having this conversation. For others of you, if it's not that, this could literally be like, when it comes to your work situation, if you felt quite frustrated or quite stuck or that things just haven't been quite moving as you want them to, this is probably a month where you're going to start to really think about what or who needs to be eliminated from your circle because it's no longer allowing growth. So for some of you, there could be some not harsh words spoken, but there could be some really interesting conversations that come up where it's like, actually, you know what? I think this has made my mind up for me. So if you've been wondering about certain friends, certain connections, certain acquaintances, certain professional connections as well, this might be the month where they kind of come to an end of their own accord. The other thing with the Four of Cups as well, very often this will bring us a surprise, right? And so this is what I find really interesting. I already said I feel like this travel that comes up, it will be spontaneous. You're not going to see this coming, but the results that come from this travel or this journey could actually be very good. When it comes to your heart and half, your love and relationships, you've got the Ace of Wands. Now, I really like this card. So for those of you that are partnered, married or in long-term commitments, especially if things have been kind of a little bit slow in the boudoir, this is a month where you're getting all of that back, right? The Ace of Wands, coupled with the Four of Cups as well. So it's like whatever challenge or issue you've been bouncing back and forward on with each other, maybe it has halted the intimacy. This month you're getting the intimacy back, which means at some point that whole thing is going to be not revolutionized, but it's going to be resolved. So I actually like this for you guys. For those of you that are single, this is fun, it's sexy, it's vibrant. This is potentially as well a fling of some kind or even a chance encounter with somebody, but not in a place that you're familiar with. So maybe you go to visit friends, maybe you go to visit family. Through that, you get talking to someone, you're single, they're single. Hey, listen, could be a good time all round. I'm going to be honest, it may not develop much more than that at this moment in time. maybe at a later date. And there's a few reasons why I say that, but although this is kind of limited to the scope of this month, maybe you end up extending your trip. Like, yeah, you know, I was only going to be here for the weekend, but thought I'd take an extra couple of days because I met this person. It could just be that. But they stay in your phone book and you stay in theirs, and at some point later, maybe. For your money and materials, you have the Moon card, right? So there's some questions around finances this month because the Moon card is, you know, it's not an easy card, and it's also the past. For a select few of you, this could be some issue or some emotional connection to money, finances and resources that is uncovered this month. So maybe you have like a, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember seeing my parents had this awful fight about money. Or, you know what, yeah, I had this really, you know, grim, you know, few months where I wasn't making any money, or, you know, everything that I had was going to this and this. It's like you're resetting your financial baseline, but you're doing this by really sitting in the emotion that you have at the time when it comes to money, finances and resources, which is not necessarily a bad thing. For your weeks ahead, what's going on? Let's give some clarity to this. So for this first week of the month, where we've got this big eclipse going on, you have the Emperor. So you've got this with the Knight of Pentacles. So it's either from or through a work colleague or a boss or work itself that this travel will come through. The other side of this could be maybe it's a partner, because the Emperor can represent a husband, but it could just as easily be a father. So this could be like a father or a masculine energy in your life requires you to travel for some reason. It doesn't have to be something awful, but you are about to have a full moon lunar eclipse in the 12th house, which does suggest potentially somebody older could need your assistance in some way that you haven't expected up until this moment. For the second week of the month, you've got the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new conversations, new excitement. And, you know, with that Four of Cups as well, it's almost like you're getting something that you need that you didn't necessarily ask for. All right. So this literally, like this second week of the month, maybe you have a conversation with a boss, with a father figure, with a male in your life that is quite important to you in some regard. And it's like what they say to you really does hit emotionally, but it kind of makes you look at things and kind of reframe something. I will also say to you as well, I would personally say this is a nice surprise, but it's going to shake something loose in the heart space area. So once this conversation is had, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I feel that. And now, do you know what I mean? Like, I have to have that conversation. For those of you that are... Yeah, anyway, I won't say any more on that. For the third week of the month, you've got the World card right next to the Fool. So there's going to be a full circle moment here for sure, right? And like I said, for those of you that are partnered, married or in long-term commitments, especially, well, maybe you're probably not married and living in separate places, that would just be odd. But yeah, listen, it works for Helena Bonham Carter and I think it's Gary Oldman. They're married and they live next door to each other, which I find fascinating, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, so, you know, sorry, I digress. But this is a full circle moment. So in the second and third weeks of the month, some big cycle in your life is coming to a close or coming to an end. And when it does, I think you will be pleasantly surprised at what comes out of it. For those of you that are partnered and having this issue about, do we move in together? You know, are you going to move to me? Am I going to move to you? I kind of feel like the resolution is going to be that you both move in together, but you move to somewhere completely different. So it's like you're relinquishing your places, whether this is that, you know, and even if you both own the homes that you're living in currently, it's like you're moving into a new place because it's neutral territory. Maybe you'll keep those properties and rent them out. Maybe you will consolidate it and buy a place together. There's something here where that seems to be like a really big theme for a lot of you. And it's about whether you're breaking ties with the place that you're in or the past that kind of not haunts you, but is attached to the place that you're in currently. So that's one way that you could see this. Another way that you could look at it as well is it's underneath the Ace of Wands. So for those of you that are single, you are meeting someone this month. There is a lot of fun and enjoyment to be had, but it's in a place that is completely different or new to you in some regard. And then finally, you have the in the fourth week of the month, you've got the Justice card. So you've got this underneath the moon. If there are contracts being signed this month, especially around finances, money and resources, I'm kind of reluctant to say go ahead. I don't think this is the right month for it, even if we will be in Sagittarius season at this point. I would just be a little bit more conscious than normal, right? And look, either which way, eventually I think it will turn out right. But then with this moon card, this is potentially something from the past, maybe that's been held up, is getting the go ahead, but this might not be the right time for it. It's almost like this time you see it and you're like, oh, okay, maybe this didn't happen last time, because now that I'm seeing it in a different light, there's actually this and this that I'm not really happy about. For your moon messages, so on the 8th of November, we've got that powerful full moon lunar eclipse for you in the 12th house. So for your ascendant, but to a lesser degree, but still relevant, the sun and the moon, a full moon lunar eclipse in the 12th house is literally like shining a cosmic light into your personal closet. Everything that's been hidden, everything that's been kind of packed down to the base of your subconscious, all of the things that you hold, it's your self-sabotaging tendencies, right? That's the heavy stuff of the 12th, and it also represents your past. So this could have something deeply to do with your money or your resources. It's also the place of sleep. It's also the place of pleasures that are derived from the bed or the private areas. So like I said, you and the partner could be getting back in the saddle. Another way that this could show up with 12th house energy as well, it could put a spotlight on bad habits or practices that you have that are actually self-sabotaging in some way. On a brighter note though, the 12th house is very spiritual. It's the house of the intangible. And so this could show you where in the spiritual realm you either have allies or you have things that are working in your favor. Either which way, this is a clearing out of your cosmic karma from your past. And for this, you have the gate 46 and serendipity. So it looks like the universe is bringing you an idea that comes very much by serendipity, right? A happy accident. I think that's what this Four of Cups really is all about. So my money is on this second week of the month, right? You've got the Four of Cups, you've got the Fool card, and you've got the Serendipity card. My money is on at that moment, something good comes into your life and you're kind of like, huh, okay, this is cool. For your new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, you have the gate 7 and discipline. And this card always speaks to me about, it always speaks to me about discipline, but it also reminds me a lot about, it's not just about the community that we keep, but it's about the work that we do on the things that really require our input. And the interesting thing is this new moon is happening for you in the 7th house. Partnerships, relationships, marriage, partnership contracts, one-on-one, one-to-one contracts, your competitors and your open enemies are found here as well. So this is a really, really interesting one. I think this the insight that comes to you from whatever's happening in on the Sag new moon, I think this is going to be something that kind of initiates a new thought process and then it kind of expands or grows from there. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care and I'll see you soon.